We have the chance for more strong thunderstorms across the Florida Peninsula. What's going on, guys? Certified meteorologist Jonathan Kagas with you. And in this video, we are going to be pinpointing the opportunity for more strong storms. Show of hands, post in the comments, give it a thumbs up if those storms kept you up late last night as they rolled through the Florida Peninsula. Also post in the comment section if they did as well. We'd love to know where you're tuning in from. We also will continue the big heat, especially for the areas that are not going to see the widespread thunderstorms. And we will break that all down across the Florida Peninsula. And then we will wrap up the video with a tropical update. Stick around to the end of the video for that. There is a new area in the tropics to watch as designated by the National Hurricane Center. We kind of alluded to that in an earlier video, but we will break that down and show you the percentages and talk all about that coming up. I'm going to have a full tropical update posted in the description as well. You can check that out. All right, in terms of the thunderstorms today, we're going to fast forward to 3 o'clock, and there's a lot of action. There's a major severe weather outbreak on Wednesday across parts of the Deep South. We got the tail end of that as we kind of moved down the Florida Peninsula. Some gusty wind last night, some strong thunderstorms, some very heavy rain and thunder, lightning, all of the above. So once we get into the evening, most of that is going to work across the Florida Peninsula from southwest to northeast. So Cedar Key, Palm Coast, into Jacksonville through about dinner time. There's 8 o'clock tonight. We have a few more scattered storms, really not associated with this main line towards Fort Pierce, north of Fort Lauderdale. That's going to be the East Coast sea breeze firing up. This is something, though, that's going to continue as we have these little impulses, these little waves of low pressure kind of riding a stalled front to the north of us. Here's the deal, though. We're going to fast forward into Friday. We still have the opportunity for severe thunderstorms. There we go at 1 o'clock. A lot of heavy rain working toward the Big Bend, into Orlando, towards Ocala, into Marion County, Palm Coast, Flagler County. Then we have the sea breeze lighting up again into the afternoon. That main batch or cluster of storms pushes down the peninsula into the afternoon, and then there you go at Friday, 7 o'clock. So if you have something going on for the weekend, getting it started Friday evening, maybe taking dinner outside, I do think we'll start to quiet things down on a large scale toward the Florida Panhandle, north of Orlando. We're still going to be dodging some stronger thunderstorms towards the southern tip of the Florida Peninsula. We're fast forwarding to Friday. Of course, we do have some of that threat for severe weather for the rest of Thursday as well. Okay, so it's important to know that chance is going to be there for those storms that I just showed you on future radar to be strong. But from a Friday perspective, we have another shot for strong storms, and really that chance continues right into the start of your weekend. The highest potential for storms to turn severe will be towards the Panhandle, especially west of Tallahassee, toward Pensacola, toward Panama City, Port St. Joe, and then that marginal risk, that level 1 out of 5. That means that there's a little bit of juice in the atmosphere to get storms going, but we're not looking at widespread damaging storms. Every now and then a storm could overachieve, take advantage of some of the environment that is conducive for those storms, and really get rowdy. I want to show you from a Central Florida perspective here, getting into the afternoon on your Thursday, that there's not a ton going on here. I think north of Orlando, that's going to be your best opportunity for these stronger thunderstorms. Once we get to Friday, we might have a better opportunity. There's 10 o'clock on your Friday morning. We do have those scattered storms around Ocala into Daytona Beach, the villages, and then more of those storms, as we showed you on that kind of Florida view there on a widespread scale. That's 1 o'clock on Friday with a few of those stronger thunderstorms around as well. That risk is going to be with us. High temperatures tomorrow on Friday are going to be extremely dependent on where we get the rain. And of course, it's going to start earlier the further north you are, later the further south. So it's just natural that we're going to be able to build more heat the further south you are as well, because we're going to be drier for longer. 95 in Orlando, 94 in Kissimmee. We're at 93 degrees in Cocoa Beach, back to the upper 80s in the villages. So a little bit, I don't want to say cooler. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid, but the rain is going to help to certainly cool things off a little bit earlier in the afternoon. The same holds true for the heat index when you factor in the humidity, and you can kind of see the divide in temperature where we're expecting the thunderstorms out there for the first part of the day, certainly on the earlier side of the day. We see it there. It's going to feel more like 80 in Ocala, more like the upper 70s in the villages at 3 o'clock on Friday, when we're still pushing the century mark south of Orlando, into Mico, Lakeland, Kissimmee, St. Cloud. So it's kind of like a tale of two halves of Florida. The northern half is going to be relatively cooler. It's still going to be muggy, but it's at least we'll have to deal with some rain cool there to give us a little bit of a break. There's 4 o'clock on your Saturday. I think we're going to be a little, again, relatively speaking, it's going to be a little better. Still blazing hot, though. And then we're going to keep the heat rolling right on into Sunday. I think we dry things out a little bit more, and that's going to allow the heat index to kind of push the upper 90s to around 100 degrees again. I want to show you the state perspective again in terms of the temperature to kind of really illustrate the storm effect. And there you go, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Port St. Joe. I mean, we're talking 70s to start. That's what it feels like. Again, this is the feels like, that heat index with the humidity factored in. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. The storms, you saw them rolling in earlier towards the Big Bend in the mid-70s. Everywhere kind of Orlando points south, Fort Myers into Fort Pierce, Sarasota, Tampa. We're going to be pushing the century mark and how it actually feels outside. So again, it's kind of wild, but those storms get an early start for some of us across the Florida Peninsula and Florida Panhandle on your Friday. Ending with the tropics. All right, so we kind of alluded that we would have some potential development next week in a previous video. Here we go. The Hurricane Center highlighting this now as we have about half of that tropical wave off of the coast of Africa. You see it right there. X marks the spot, that yellow X from the Hurricane Center. Development chances are going to be only 20% over the next 7 days. That is going to go up. The environment out here is atypically conducive. This will be a very rare spot for a storm to develop in June. If you want to read up or watch more on this, I have another video that I will kind of post in that card that pops up above your head, and I will post this in the description, and I will post to it in the comment section. You can click on there. That'll take you over there. That's going to be our Just Weather page. Would love it if you do like following the weather for you to subscribe to that. That'd be awesome. But anyway, in this area, only 3 have developed since the late 1800s. So it's a really weird spot for June, but the water temperature's blazing up there, out in that realm. So over the next week, really as we start looking towards the 21st to 25th, so that's going to be the next 7-ish to 10-ish days, we're going to be looking for the potential for something anyway to get out towards the Northeast Caribbean, maybe towards Puerto Rico or towards the Turks and Caicos. So again, we're watching this area closely. I do believe that development chance is going to go up because we're likely going to see the highest development shot beyond 7 days. So that's why it's lower. So with each passing day, we will likely see an increase in that development percentage. So again, just an early heads up. There's a lot of time to watch it. There are no indications that this thing is coming to Florida by any means. There could be a little dip in the jet stream. At least I'm hopeful that there will be one kind of right here to help to guide that out. But the Bermuda High is a little weak right now, which when it's weak, it does help to kind of tug it. So we will see what happens. That's still 10 plus days out before we'd be talking about any kind of threat to the lower 48. We'll keep you posted on there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure if you enjoyed this video to hit that thumbs up button. If you do hit the alert bell, you're going to be posted anytime that we post new content. And of course, we will catch you next time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.